Hello, I thought I'd talk today a little bit about how to find a therapist, like where to even look for that. So one of the most popular and one of the most direct ways of doing this is by direct referral. If you have somebody that you know is getting results from a therapist that speaks a language that sounds like something that would be helpful for you, oftentimes therapists don't mind taking direct referrals from existing clients as long as the topic that you're going to be talking about isn't each other. So if you come in and you're talking about your friend and then you refer that friend to talk to me at the same time, it's not going to work out for either of you, and it ends up messing with the objectivity of the therapist to be able to help both of you as helpfully as possible. But if it is something where it's in completely different life domains, they may be able to have a little bit of clinical insight into a therapist that they know that might help you more specifically with what you're struggling with. There are a variety of platforms that can be helpful. There are things like ZocDoc, Psychology Today, and then there are sort of all-inclusive platforms like Alma, Headway, Rula. There's a bunch of those now. Googling is also an option, and many therapists end up having their own website where you can get a little bit more of a deep dive on who they are, what they do, and have a little bit more information before scheduling a consultation call. If you do find somebody on one of these other platforms, it may be helpful to see if they do have a website and Google them to be able to see, does this person have a phone number or a direct email address that I can reach out to ask for a consultation call, rather than trying to go through one of these platforms that's really trying to get you to book an appointment. Psychology Today is probably the most prolific option that's historically been popular, and it does give you a couple of things for being able to find a therapist that you usually don't get in other places. Primarily in the sense that it offers a video introduction for people so that you can get a little bit of a feel, a little bit of a vibe check if this person is in the right category of being able to help you. So even if you do find somebody on one of these other platforms, if they also have a Psychology Today where there's a video introduction for them, that could be kind of cool for being able to see if they're the right fit. ZocDoc is comparably easier, where you can filter by insurance and you can actually book an appointment directly into somebody's calendar based off of the availability that they have, which is pretty nice. It also gives the opportunity for you to see reviews that people have previously left for having worked with that provider before. And so you have a little bit of a vision into what people's experiences are. The downside is that those reviews might not be relevant for the issue that you're struggling with. And even if you're seeing a trauma specialist and people are giving comments about trauma, it might not necessarily be that the vibe fit is right for you. Alma, Headway, Rula, a lot of these places are pretty cool too, because they'll often offer an insurance check ahead of time. So some of them will even tell you what your copay will be before you even request a consultation call, which can be kind of nice if you have a high deductible plan, and sometimes a deductible can range between $70 depending on the state all the way up to like $150 depending on the state. And you might want to know that before even reaching out for help, or if there are other options for seeking help. One of those other options is something like BetterHelp, which is more of a subscription-based model where you pay a flat rate each month to have a set number of meetings with a therapist, and that may end up being cheaper than what your insurance offers. I do and have used each of these platforms, but am not sponsored by any of them. I think they all have a role to play in being able to find the right therapist for you, and it's worth checking out each of those options to see what the right fit might be for you. So let's say you've arrived at one or several of these different websites for being able to take a look at a profile, and you've got a profile in front of you, but you're not sure what to do with that information. There's a whole bunch of stuff there, and it's like, this is a lot. I will say that the websites don't do a super great job in being able to filter out the stuff that's maybe less relevant. So when they do prompt you to make a profile, it will ask you to list out of the hundreds of different things that you offer, which are the things that you can do. And so you can end up seeing some people's profiles that have like a list of 110 different things that they do. But in terms of like, is that their mainstay? Is that their specialty? It's a little bit obscure whether what they're doing is actually going to match what you're looking for. One of the ways to try to zero in on that is, what does the bio actually say? If there are a bunch of things in somebody's profile that are saying they do anxiety, they do ADHD, they do PTSD, if in their bio, if you're looking for somebody who specializes in PTSD and they say, I'm an EMDR certified trauma specialist and my passion in the field is being able to help people with trauma overcome things that may have happened to them in the past, that's my specialty, that's my mainstay, that's what I primarily enjoy the most doing. The bio ends up giving away a little bit more of what it is that you're looking for. Oftentimes, some of these websites will either have a specific way for being able to reach out for a consultation call, or some of them may insist on you making an appointment without being able to reach out for a consultation call and checking to see if the specialty that's listed in the bio is actually what it is that they do, or if it's one of the things on the list. It may be helpful to have that consultation call in order to make sure that it's the right fit. Oftentimes, I don't think it's the case that I've ever seen it, that the insurances that the person takes aren't listed on their profile somewhere. And so if you do a little bit of digging, there's usually a list somewhere that you can compare to make sure that this is actually going to work. A question to answer for yourself in advance may be whether it is that you're looking for a provider that offers virtual appointments or in-person appointments, and there's usually filters or different ways that you can check people's profiles to be able to see if they offer what it is that you're looking for. Unfortunately, there's usually a whole lot of information that's on these profile pages that isn't actually useful to you. It's all different tags for trying to get to people to show up in different kinds of search results as opposed to being able to inform you once you actually get to the profile. The bio is the most important part, and the consultation call that follows can be equally as important to making sure that what it is that they're talking about actually matches the kind of experience that you would expect to have with them. I hope that helps. Stay tuned for more.